Welcome back to another Medtech Snapshot, the one question, one answer digest medical device podcast. And with me today is a great friend of mine. This has been long overdue. Mr. Achilles Young is with us today. If you know Achilles, you know that he is incredibly insightful when it comes to medical device operations. And he's going to share with us today his perspective on how you work within a matrix organization. I know a lot of you listening are in that kind of an environment. And how do you take ownership to make sure that you're actually solving problems along the way? But then we're also going to get into a little bit of how do you actually take the data that you have within a large organization and make it so that you're solving problems and moving things forward. And think back on a time where you experienced a moment in your career that was life-changing. It was pivotal. And because of that experience, it really helped develop a trajectory for where you are today in your career.
Yeah, after 3 decades, Travis, I have a couple that came up, but if you notice, I have in my background the Go Red for Women 2026. So February is special for me because my mother was born in February, but also my mother passed away from a heart attack. So this is a good month for me to reflect on all the love she gave my sister and I bring up in my career, I was a part of the disposable pressure transducer development over at Baxter, which was called the True Wave transducer. And in my career, I was there with a guy named Carl Tripp, Wes Morris, and Tran. I can't remember Tran's last name at the moment, but this was in 1993, maybe. We started off in a small room, and Carl was explaining to us how we get this thing done, man. And they put me in charge of the mechanical piece. This is a kid out of school. Travis, I learned so much from that time, but I learned about quality. And the way I learned it, my mom was having an episode. She had congestive heart failure. She had been in the ER multiple times. This was a time I actually drove from Irvine to Los Angeles, where the hospital she was at. And as I was looking around the room, I saw the disposable transducer I had worked on with Carl, Tran, and with Wes starting out under Dave Shepard, by the way. I give him a shout out. And boy, to get that moment of quality, that's when I knew at the age, I think at that time I was 26, so 3 years had gone by since I had started. I knew quality needed to be put into everything I do. And so now it's just a part of my DNA, man. When I'm in meetings, when I'm sitting there with the team members, it's quality is the first thing. How are we going to ensure if this thing gets used on your loved one, that it's going to function the way it's supposed to? So it's easy for me then to, really be the person or one of the people in the room who can really fight to make sure that that's priority number one.
And what a powerful moment to think back on. Your mom is in the hospital and you look up and a body of your work is sitting just a couple feet away from you. When you kind of think about that moment versus where you're at today and that trajectory, is there anything that any feedback you have for someone who might be listening who's mid to late 20s and might be going through that same thing right now? Any thoughts on some feedback you'd give them?
Yes, I would say to own the role you play in this great industry of med devices. Know what you do down to its deepest level and do it with enthusiasm and do it with passion. And I would say balance that with whatever else you're doing in life. But when you go in and you're representing this industry, know that you are doing something that's so important and walk out of work at the end of the day, no matter how hard it was, with a sense of pride.